That's it.
Hello, Savannah. Hello. This is Kesha Gibson Carter, your Alderwoman at large for Post 1 of the City of Savannah. This is a Kandily Kesha edition, late night on a Thursday. Unusual because you are accustomed to me coming to you on a Monday. But we had a meeting that was quite, I can't even say it was unusual because it was the usual shenanigans. But I want to start with giving you information, education that you can use related to the workshop we had. We'll start with the workshop, which consisted of discussion for the I-16 flyover removal. That's the Earl T. Shinholster flyover removal. So we're going to let a couple more people come in. I'm going to share with a few more people, and I want you to do the same. I want you to like, and share, because I have some important information for you, and I have an important announcement to make tonight. And we're just going to get on with what we have to do here. Listen, you all know that we started this show on the cuff of times on council where we couldn't quite figure out our place as an elected official, a newly elected official. And in not being able to figure it out, there was some messaging going on because we were not in the majority. And so the narrative that was being painted by the mainstream media was not consistent with the work that we were doing on council. So I was advised, and I would give her credit, by Miss Alicia Ayre Scott, to create a platform whereby we could start to frame a narrative that was consistent with letting the public know what really was going on behind the scenes, or at least what our side was, because only one narrative was being completed. So I'm going to peel out of this jacket, I want to share a few more, share to a few more friends because it's late. Oh, I need, let me see. I need somebody to do something here. So while I do this, I'm just going to let people come in, come in, come in, come in, come in, come in. My cohort, not in crime, but in community. I like to say that, some people say my partner in crime. I don't do crime. I don't commit crimes. Hi, Miss Taylor. Hi, Vanessa. My partner in community, Alderwoman Alicia Miller Blakely, usually says, come in, come in, come in, like, share, share, share. She's really good at this stuff. I'm not that good. But I want you to do that. I want you to come in, come in, come in, like, and share, share, share while I do this. Let's see. Let's see. And I want to say thanks to Mr. Julius Hall and Representative Tanya Howard Hall for your support and always being available when we need you, specifically through ATR, and in terms of helping us frame the narrative, helping us to get the record straight and keep the record straight, because we know that mainstream media is somewhat challenged by those things that we do today. So let's see. Let's see. I can feel Julius telling me to just get on with the show. Just get on with the show. Get on with it. Get on with it already. Okay, so you know what? We have 25 people in. I need those 25 people to like, share, share, share. So let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. So today's city council meeting started with a workshop. And the workshop topic was the I-16 flyover. And in addition to the I-16 flyover, we also had on discussion the Savannah Economic Development Board appointments. And so I wasn't really all that interested in what those appointments were going to be or what those appointments were, because they pretty much are already set, just like any appointments. Whatever the majority wants, the majority gets. And so what you should know as citizens of Savannah is it takes 5 votes. It takes 5 votes to move anything forward or to vote anything down, right? And so as a sitting alderperson of the city of Savannah, by virtue of our charter, if you want to put anything on the agenda, it's called legislation. It's an item, if you will. It's something that we vote, that we present for a vote that gets folded into the rules of our city, the ordinance of our city, of the way we operate, right? Whether it's personnel, whether it's something regarding our community, or something with regard to our government and how we operate. And so with the workshop, previous to our arrival, the way the workshops generally worked, we have a workshop, and the workshop essentially is inclusive of an item that will be followed by the agenda. Like whatever we had as a workshop is probably coming up for vote on the agenda, which means we want to educate the council more and we want to educate the public more about what this agenda item represents. And it's usually something big, something huge, like SPLOST, like the arena, or something with regard to a development. So on our agenda today, it's huge. It's the I-16 flyover. But I should tell you that there have been many huge items. There have been many larger items that would preclude this I-16 flyover, in my opinion, that we have not yet addressed. Between Michael Brown and Pat Monahan, our council came up with a list of items that we wanted to prioritize with regard to what we wanted on the agenda. It included things like robotics, what streets we decided needed to be paved. It included things like the millage rate, our crime rate in Savannah, blight, how we handle our affordable housing crises. There are several items on this list that multiple council members added on, and those items were supposed to be prioritized. So you all know that over the last 2 years, or most of you know who've been following the council, we have had 4 city managers in the last 2 years. And so for those of you who are watching tonight and listening, I want you to listen closely, and I want you to make some mental notes. And if you will, it would not hurt you so much if you actually made some physical notes. So since we have been in office, this is a note to make. Since we have been in office, you elected me for a 4-year term. I've been in office 2 years of those 4 years. I have been represented by 4 city managers. We've been with leadership of the city of Savannah via 4 city managers. We came in with Pat Monahan. Then we had a failed city manager search, which they blamed it on an ethics complaint because I cursed during executive session. I didn't curse anybody. I cursed the process of the mayor cheating. And so we ended up with Michael Brown. He was handpicked by Van Johnson. And after Michael Brown, we had an interim who was also handpicked by Van Johnson, which was Heath Lloyd, the assistant city manager. And after Heath Lloyd, we now have ended up with Jay Melder. So I don't think that in the history of local government anywhere, anyone has had 4 city managers in 2 years. Point number 1. And so here we are today, arriving at an opportunity for a reset, a do-over, as our eloquent city attorney Bates Levitt stated. We have an opportunity for a do-over, a reset, only to be met by a set of circumstances that bring us back to the same place, which leads me to believe that Savannah is governed by 2 sets of council or 2 sets of leaders. That's the leaders that you see, the people who you see every 2 weeks on that dais. And then there are an invisible bunch of leaders. Those are the individuals we call the puppet masters. I firmly believe that there are a set of people who really run this local government outside of the people who are sitting in those seats. Because, in all fairness, I think that most of us who entered local government and who came to this table came with the intention to do good, to walk right, and to help people. We came to the table from a spirit of altruism. We wanted to do the right thing. But in short order, they were unable to resist the madness of the media. They were unable to resist those perks that come under the table and over the table, like the car count at our local Mercedes or BMW dealership, the ride in the private jet, or the dinners and breakfast at the Chatham Club and the golf club. For some who are not in tune with who they are, it's a little bit difficult to resist. And so you find yourself on the other side. And what does the other side mean? The other side means that you are not against status quo politics. The other side means that you are not against those things that do not represent a progressive and aggressive form of government. And so here we are with the I-16 flyover. And amidst the I-16 flyover, we hear things like reclaiming West Broad Street. We hear things like bringing back the old, where it was a bustling corridor for African-American business and small businesses, where we hear that there was thriving life to African-American community. People owned homes in those corridors. But then we recognize the fact that reclaiming doesn't mean going back and giving back to that or whom those pieces were taken. It actually means establishing anew. It's not reclaiming at all. And so as we look at the committee who is a part of this reclaiming West Broad Street. First controversy is, okay, are you going to change the name from MLK back to West Broad Street? You can go back and watch the meeting. This was all a part of the meeting today. And they said, no, that's not what it means. We are not going to change the name from MLK to West Broad Street. Reclaiming means taking it back to its business corridor. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Where is the evidence? Because for as much as I know, since I've been in this seat, um, nothing related to development in the city of Savannah speaks of equity, inclusion, and equality. None of it. Eastern Wharf, the entertainment district that Mr. Kessler just established at the end of River Street. Look at what happened to Clearview. Um, what new development in the city of Savannah speaks of inclusion? We do not have a track record of that. So how could you stand before us today and expect us to be accepting of this item that essentially jumped over so many other items to be a workshop? So that was the start of the day. And then we went forth with other items which were inclusive of, and what you all should know, this is another point to make. The city of Savannah doesn't spend a whole bunch of money once a month. We spend a whole bunch of money twice a month. Nearly $1 million twice a month we spend at the city of Savannah. Sometimes 2 times that much. It depends on what the item is. We have had items as much as $1 and $2 million, especially when it comes to our infrastructure and our water pieces. It's a lot. So we had the pledge. We had a couple of presentations which were very important. Specifically that to the Mighty Eight, and congratulations to you all. We appreciate your service, sirs. Um, Alcohol. Oh my God, alcohol. Savannah is very wet. We give alcohol license to every Tom, Dick, Harry, and their mama. Only if you're in the first district, though. I'm sorry, the second district. Any other district, you're gonna have a hard time. But the second district, you don't get a liquor license. Um, and then we had some petitions and some ordinances. We had some purchasing items which were inclusive of 29,000 for the purchase of decorative light fixtures to match lights installed at Savannah. That's a part of our Savannah Shines project on DeLesseps Avenue. It's important. I felt like it was important for you guys to understand and hear some of this stuff tonight. And this is what I'm going to be doing more of as we go forth. I can't just be making up stuff to entertain you all. You got to have to get the meat and potatoes. We spent $76,982 on furniture for Workforce Coastal. Then we authorized the city manager to execute a contract for uniform services for Census Corporation in the amount of $314,928. And these are uniforms for city employees, excluding fire and police. They have their own contract. And then we authorized the city manager to execute a contract for office supplies. $800,000, almost $1 million for office supplies for city staff. That doesn't include city council, at least not me, because I don't even have a legal pad or an ink pen. I got to find stuff to write with and communicate with y'all. And listen, if I don't get back with you right away, if I don't call, respond right away, it's because I don't have an assistant. I can't keep up with everything. These people don't give us assistance. I don't have office supplies. I don't have an office. We're winging it. I answer all my phone calls myself. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. But if I fail to respond back to you, you know why, okay? And we're at item 12. We have about 23 items. I'm not going to be long. Ammunition. I have to have those firearms. Ammunition, $63,283. Then we had, what else did we have? We had a contract for promotional testing and assessment for police with the Morris and McDaniel Incorporated for $104,375,000. So I put a plug in here for whatever that means, right? promotional training is important, particularly for the police department. But listen, I also asked the city manager to pay attention. I want all of my police officers, if you know a police officer, if you love a police officer, if you are related to a police officer, I need you right now to like, and share, because they need to know, as it relates to the police department, and I'm not going to hide behind words, I'm not going to hide behind a partition. I have gone on record saying when police officers behave badly, they need to be held accountable. But for the most part, the majority of the police officers are doing their jobs. And for those police officers, they need to be treated fairly, they need to be compensated fairly, and they need to be upheld accordingly. Right now, the police department, among all departments of the city of Savannah, is the most sick. I hear you, I see you, and I'm advocating for you behind the scenes. I have made it known that we are in need of new leadership and direction in our police department. We are losing more police officers than we are recruiting. We are grossly deficient in the number of police that we need to service this community, which is in part why crime is what it is. Yes, I know. Policing and police officers can't singly stop crime, but you know what? When you're speeding down the corridors of Abercorn and you see a police officer, guess what you will do? You will slow down. And so I submit to you, if we were to have police officers in our heavily crime-riddled areas and neighborhoods, and there are only 2 or 3 of them, you all know what they are, we would not be experiencing the level of gun violence that we are, particularly when the criminals behind the crime are 13, 14, and 15 years old. There is no way you can convince me that teenagers, adolescents, are smarter than the system of criminal justice that we have here in Savannah. And if that is the case, Savannah, we have a problem. We had some board appointments. We sign off on the Savannah Airport Commission purchasing items. I haven't been able to understand that since I've been on council, but for whatever reason, we sign off on millions of dollars in purchases, and we do not recoup anything from the Savannah Airport. Finally, we had the arena. The arena project is not my favorite project, and it's been one that I've been most critical of, starting with parking. Today, I validated the fact that we have a contract with Chatham Steel or whoever owns it. I don't know. $5 million over a 10-year period to lease the property, not purchase it. We can purchase land for $5 million. We're leasing it. And after 10 years, we don't have any place to park. But the kicker is an additional $9 million to develop it and to mitigate the fact that it's unenvironmentally safe. So $9 whole million is being invested in dirt, in grass. Can you imagine what a fraction of that would mean to your community? The city of Savannah is expending nearly $15 million for parking. I'm nauseous right now. So after that discussion, we arrived at an item on the agenda that actually had to be moved between the time I had a conversation with the city manager, because the item first was under the city manager recommends approval for. And that was the city manager recommends approval for reconsideration of city council offices 2022-2023. So what they didn't say is this was an item that followed an item from the previous meeting, which was a reprimand for Alderwoman Kesha Gibson Carter for Post One for allegedly acknowledging that her colleague Nick Palumbo, Alderman for for District 4, was racist. So they heard me say the word racist to a comment that he made. Yeah. And so it went into this whole 72-hour news cycle for WTLC, JCL, and SAB because they have nothing else to do. They are not brave enough or courageous enough to report on real news in our city or report in a way in which they incorporate journalistic integrity so that we can make some real change in the city. They can't do that because they're owned, bought, and paid for by the establishment. And so, with that, I come to you tonight via ATR for those reasons, because this is a platform that helps us to keep the news real and it helps us to keep it relevant. And so, in true fashion, it wasn't enough that in the previous meeting they did this whole reprimand because I allegedly exercised my right as an American citizen if I did call him a racist, but only a person who is a racist would be offended by the term racist, notwithstanding the fact that I asked him if he was a racist like 3 or 4 times and he never answered me. And to this day, he's never responded to that call. Curtis Purdy of Pure Politics, Purdy, Purtee, Purdy, Pure, Pure. We know it's you. You can type away on that too. So I get a memo that, well, actually, it started with Alicia Miller Blakely, Alderwoman Blakely, asking the mayor during the last meeting, what does this whole evaluation of council member positions mean? And so at that time, he said, "Oh, it doesn't mean anything. It was just we're just going to bypass it or something." He said, he goes with that little whole bobblehead thing. And so we move forward, and then a day or two later, I guess because he owes a couple of favors to his voting five, Curtis Purdy in particular sends an email and says, "Well, Mayor, I wanted you to put this on the agenda. I wanted this to be addressed because rah, rah, rah." Let's see what it says. And the mayor says, "Okay, well, if we get 5 members of council to agree," and so that's like some kind of inside sickness that they have. If we get 5 members of council to agree on it, we will we'll put it on the agenda. And so, in short order, a handful of them chime in. I can't keep up with who's chiming in because I'm dealing with the business of the city of Savannah. Remember, I don't have any assistants. I don't have any administrative support. I don't have anybody answering my phone. So I'm trying to take care of the business of the citizens of Savannah. So it wasn't until today I said, "Well, who was this 5?" Because I tried to get 5 members of council to vote with me to get the Little League football players some support. I'm trying to backdoor my way into preventing crime among African American men and boys because it's a public health issue. It's a crisis in Savannah. And no, it doesn't just affect African American, Black, and brown people. Bullets don't have names. If some little kid who doesn't have an ounce of a brain decides to go and shoot up a neighborhood or shoot up 2 or 3 houses, 50 bullets, 60 bullets, you're not exempt from that. I'm not exempt from it. That matters to me. That's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on we just started the bloodiest month of the year. The first week of 2022 was more bloody than any year previous than now. And then they sitting here circulating emails about voting somebody out of an office. Okay, here's another note to take. Who's taking notes? You're going to be tested on Alderwoman Blakely's show on Tuesday and my show on Monday. Who's taking notes? So here's another point. I didn't vote for myself to be chair. I didn't vote for myself to be chair of council. The secret is I didn't even want to be post one alderwoman of the city of Savannah. I didn't want any parts of elected office. But for a certain set of circumstances that forced me out of my job, I was left with this to do. You know? So listen, 11,569 people voted for me to get off of my sofa, to turn off Netflix, and come and do for the city of Savannah what I've been doing for 25 years. Loving you, giving to you, devoting myself to you. And in that, I arrived here, as former President Barack Obama describes them, with a group of jamokes. Because I didn't take the bait. Because I'm not on the tape. Because I didn't take the dinner, take the car account, get the renovations or the food truck or the account or the the contract to cut hair. I didn't take any of that. I don't have a poor track record of performance as a police officer in Garden City. I don't walk dogs. I've never stolen jewelry from a jewelry store. I've never given my husband a sexually transmitted disease. You actually have to cheat on him to do that. I didn't do that either. So you see, when it comes to ethics and when it comes to professionalism, these people can't hold a candle to me. Oh, I'm not going to leave you out, 5th District, home of homicide. I'm not taking schemes and deals under the table and over the table. No, I don't have a contract that has to be threatened to be taken from me, from another governmental entity. We'll name that later. I'm self-made. And I care about people. I care enough about people not to care about what these individuals decide to do and forego by way of their districts. Let's start with District 2. That's becoming gentrified by the minute. You didn't send in the request for inclusionary zoning to protect the elders in your community whose taxes are being raised because of the rising real estate costs. No, Dietrich Leggett. You didn't send in a vote for protection for your seniors in your neighborhood. Linda, in the 3rd District, you didn't send in a vote to revitalize Skidaway Road. That's in desperate ruins. And the litter that's out of control. Let's not talk about the homelessness. No, you did not send in a vote or a request for that. 4th District, Mr. Palumbo, that's my district. You didn't send in a request to incorporate a sex trafficking policy or ordinance for these hotels that are being rented by individuals who are on the edge of society, engaging in prostitution and drug use and abuse. You didn't send in a request to become a priority to incorporate sidewalks on Waters Avenue between Durand Avenue and Stevenson. No, you didn't send in a request for that. 5th District, home of the homicide, Stella Shabazz, you didn't send in a vote, or you didn't ask for consensus for lighting and shot spotter. You didn't send in a request for that. That wasn't important. No, that wasn't important. Voting Kesha Gibson Carter out as chairman was more important than that. And you, Alderman Purdy, the most unethical of all, even more unethical than stealing. And you wanted to talk about You want to respond to it? Don't respond to it to me. Call David Lyons. Call Chief David Lyons and have a talk with him about your performance in Garden City. You shouldn't even be carrying a gun or a badge. You are a dangerous man. Very dangerous. And let's see you post this to Savannah Pure Politics. You didn't send in anything related to revitalizing Savannah Mall or the crime that is so rampant in your neighborhood. You didn't send in anything related to wanting the consensus for that. But you led the charge, sir. You led the charge for the ethics complaint against me, and you led the charge for this, which proves that you are exhibiting behavior that's consistent with your record, that shows in your previous employment where you have a particular animus against African American women. I know it's hard. It ain't fair. Don't blame me. Blame the player. I didn't create me. At the end of the day, Curtis Purdy, what you should know is I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and God doggone it, people like me. It ain't nothing you or nobody else can do about it. So what we need to do is get about the business of the people of Savannah. And what I need you Savannahans to do, I need you all to wake up. Wake up and rise up. I'm telling you with everything that I know God loves. In 5 to 7 short years, if we don't do something in this city different from what we have done in the previous, it is no reason. You all are demonstrating no reason why Eddie Deloach should have ever been voted out of office. None. None. Right now, this administration is doing worse than Eddie Deloach would have ever done. Look at crime. Look at the Civic Center. Look at the arena. Cloverdale, Carver Village, Brickyard, they're coming for you. They are coming for you. And I'm just the mouthpiece. I'm just a voice because I don't have the vote. It's me, Alderwoman Miller Blakely, and Alderwoman Bryant Lanier. We're not in the majority. The city manager told me that he has to serve the majority. The majority on council is 5. But my majority is the people of Savannah. And I'm banking on you. I'm banking on you to make it true. I say this very humbly, but sincerely. There is no other reason but by the grace of God that I got up off of my couch in 2019 after being forced out of my career and my job. And you see me smiling. You're like, why are you smiling? Who would smile under that kind of pressure? You know why? Because I serve a God. I serve a God who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly all above all things that anybody can think or ever imagine. I can't imagine it. I can't see it, but I can say it. And when you can say it, I'm speaking to some sisters tonight. I'm speaking to some sisters tonight who are on some dead-end jobs, in some dead-end relationships, in some dead-end situations, and they can't do what I do. But you know what? They are inspired by what I do. That's why I have to do it. I have to say it. Because I am moved by the spirit of my ancestors that I have no control over. Fannie Lou told me that I can't shut up. Harriet told me that I can't stop. And Rosa told me that I better not get up. So here I am today, your Alderwoman at large for Post 1 of the city of Savannah, who have gone through an ethics complaint, who has been reprimanded, and tonight, who was voted out as chair of council, as if that means anything. It doesn't mean a hill of beans. You don't even know what it is. According to the city manager, he told me, he said, Kesha, I didn't even know that the chair of council even existed until you all took office. So it's all a smokescreen. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. TLC, SAB, and JCL and Savannah Morning News, if they haven't woke up by now, they will run a news blitz. They'll have my face and my name, because you're going to click it when you see my face and name. They get like points. So how that thing ratings, I don't know how it goes. Y'all need to start giving me some money. A sister can use some dividends. Listen, I told y'all before, I'm the only one on council who doesn't have a job. I don't have a pension. I don't have a regular income. If anybody should be sold out by now, it should be my broke behind. Listen, Bates Lovett told me that he advised against this. This was the city attorney. And I told him and the city manager, I said, at some juncture between you little guys who we pay $500,000, $500,000, they both make over $240,000 a year. The city attorney and the city manager. And our clerk, almost $100,000. At some point, somebody needs to take some responsibility here. This is taxpayer dollars. This is an embarrassment to our city, an embarrassment to our state. And so this was the recommendation. Let's see if I can find it. Rules of council, Bates Lovett, evaluation of council. What does that one say? That's the council procedures. So the long and short of it is, I started out with telling you all information and education you could use related to the rules of council. Related to our agenda and the business of the city of Savannah, right? Because that's what's important. I think all of this extra stuff, these auxiliary pieces, it comes about so that it could take your mind off of the real issue. And the real issue is removing the I-16 flyover over near Gwinnett and MLK is going to cause a lot of interruption to those communities. It's not going to nearly be a part of what we think is reclaiming West Broad MLK. Nobody's talking about that because you added this piece for Kesha. So this is a email to City Council from Bates Lovett, where he talks about, because he heard the murmuring and the grumbling about the email that went out. We want to move her as chair of council. This is what I was stalling to say. Guys, guess how I became chair of council? I became chair of council because it was a concession for Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, yours truly was going to be voted in as Mayor Pro Tem. But Dr. Estella Shabazz wanted to be Mayor Pro Tem. But all of council, minus actually Alicia and Bernetta. Yeah, get that. Minus Alicia and Bernetta were like, no, not Kesha, Estella, because she's the most senior person. And guess who was with them? Me. I was like, yeah, I shouldn't be Mayor Pro Tem. I don't know a hill of beans about local government. I'm just coming in. Why would I be Mayor Pro Tem? Yes, but Purdy, Palumbo, Linda, Dietrich, and Van, the five, were hell-bent on Estella not being Mayor Pro Tem. They wanted me. The five wanted me. And those five, guess what the other historical piece is? During the campaign, 2019, Dietrich Leggett, you calling me putting your signs on the bottom of my 4x4s. Were they 4x4s, honey? Is it 4x4? Yeah. People call me, why is teacher putting his sign on the bottom of your sign? You wanted to campaign with me. Linda, you called me. I got the text message, Linda, so don't even try to lie. And the pictures, Dietrich, of my family and friends sending me pictures saying, why is this sign under your sign? Linda, you wanted me to go campaigning with you in the 3rd district and put my sign next to your sign. Palumbo, you want me to pull up your receipts? You want me to pull up your receipts, Palumbo? Because you called me when I was on my sick bed, minding my own business. I wasn't even thinking about local government. You called me and wanted me to be your marketing communications director for your campaign. You were running for office. We met at Coffee Deli on Haversham Street. We had coffee and pastries. And you called me and called me and called me. I was over supporting people who were just bleeding and pulling for me because you heard what a good job I did for Meg Heath. Wrong answer. That was a wrong name to call right there. No, and I didn't do it. No. And Van, you were campaigning with us. I was trying to distance myself from you like you had the plague, but you and your team, I can't even think of the little guy's name. What's his name? Honey, what's his name? The little one who's always complimenting you on your shoes. What's his name? What's Eddie? You Eddie. Yeah, you Eddie. Mm-hmm. Scared of none of y'all African American colored folk in words. Every time I turn around, you put my stuff out with Van stuff. No. No, I don't want to be a part of him. No. I'm in this race because I'm in this race. I don't need him and nobody else. And your slewfoot Van Johnson, poor representative of the 1st district, you gaslit those people, those little old ladies who believe in you. Shameful. You ought to be ashamed. Just a disservice to Savannah. You gaslit Savannah for 20 years. Shame on you, Savannah. You know, I come from the school of fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. This joker's been fooling y'all for 20 years. 20 years. He's a joke. He's evil. Brierly, what's the dude name on our city Facebook page? Brierly, petulant child. Man is a petulant child. A message from the city attorney, council, with regard to removing persons from their positions on council. And let me also remind you, this could have very well have been handled in executive session, but it wasn't handled in executive session. You know why? It wasn't handled in executive session because the goal is to polarize anything related to Kesha Gibson Carter. The goal is to polarize anything related to my value as a person, my value as a council person, and to cast dispersion upon my representation. You can't do that if I don't recognize it. Council, a number of you have asked for my legal opinion related to evaluation of council officers. Please allow this email to serve as the opinion. The Mayor Pro Tem, Chairman, Chairwoman, and Vice Chairman, Chairwoman positions are created by Rule 7 of the Rules of Council. A copy of those rules are attached for your convenience. And if any of you are interested, I'll send them to you. Rule 7 reads, council officers in accordance with the city charter as codified, not codified, Purdy, codified. In the city's code of ordinances, the mayor shall be recognized as the official head of the city and the presiding officer at all meetings. In the absence of the mayor at meetings, the succession of council officers will be in order Mayor Pro Tem, Chairman, Chairwoman, Council, Vice Chairman, Chairwoman of Council. Each of these three positions will be elected among council members at a meeting of the council during the first month of each new administration. Meaning that's it. Kaput. Council has the authority to evaluate its officers. That evaluation can be analog to an employee evaluation. The results of the evaluation can range from increased responsibilities to removal from office. So let's talk about removal from office. What time is it? Removal from office basically would probably, in my mind, what would you all guess? Removal from office. Let's see. Stealing money, misappropriating funds, like when the mayor spent $83,000 to renovate his office and it was unauthorized and not budgeted. Or, let's see, utilizing sworn police officers to go get your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and drive you around and open your doors. Or, let's see, if you sleep with somebody and give your wife a sexually transmitted disease. Or, let's see, I think it would constitute getting voted out if you steal jewelry from a jewelry store. You did like i.e. don't pay for it. Linda, it's the jewelry store across from Lady and Sons. It's the silver jewelry store right there. They have it on video actually. So don't stop denying it. Or let's see. If you had behavior unbecoming of a police officer in Garden City. Yeah, or if you beat your wife. I think all of those reasons justify being put out of your office. But things that wouldn't constitute you being put out of your office would be inclusive of advocating for vulnerable and marginalized communities, advocating for us to do something about the increasing rate of homicide, or advocating about the fact that we approved over 1,000 units that were not affordable for housing in the city of Savannah within a 2-month period. Or would it be allegedly calling someone a racist who's actually a racist? However, without a change to the rules, there is no authority for the council to elect new officers at any time other than the first month of each new administration. Thus, if an officer is removed from the office, that position simply will remain unfilled. So, the city of Savannah is currently being served without a chair of council. What does that mean? Well, as the chair of council, basically because we are governed by and led by a tyrant who does everything the way he wants to do it, and we never really function as a unified, organized professional group anyway that does committee work. That means that my chairman role was obsolete, and the only reason why we would actually need my position would be to receive lawsuit claims. Like I get all of the city's announcement for lawsuits. Every time the city is sued, I'm named in the lawsuit as the chair of council. So guess what? You just gave me a way out. Like so, all attorneys, all attorneys, listen, hear me, hear me. Don't send any more of your lawsuits to me. When you sue the city of Savannah, send them to Jay Melder, Van Johnson, or whoever else they want to be in place of me. Because we no longer have a chair of council. So ignorant. If you have any follow-up questions, please ask and I will do my best to provide my legal opinion. So I had some questions and I called him like 3 or 4 times before today and he just returned my call like a couple hours before the meeting and he said the same thing here. But he also acknowledged that this was all ridiculous and abusive and unnecessary. So that's that. That's that. I encourage you all to plug in. And the other thing, the last thing, we had 2 individuals who came to speak today. Protocol, I don't even know your real name. I've called you Protocol so much. Protocol came to speak today, and Pastor Leonard Smalls came to speak today. and Van Johnson did not allow them to speak, albeit our rule of council acknowledges that people are only able to speak on an item that's on the agenda. So again, continual voter suppression, continual of silencing of voices. Um, our city has already expended nearly $100,000 defending him in court for things that he's done that go opposite of our basic rights as Americans here in the city of Savannah. So, Savannah, you'll be the judge. You'll be the judge, and I'll be here to help you decide which direction you want to go. Until then, I love you, and may the peace of God be with you. I'm still here, Savannah. Have a good night. And thank you, ATR.